Okay, let's just see here if we're live. Good morning. We're going to do a little sound check. We had a little bit of difficulties, and let's see if we've got this working. Scano, good morning. Yeah, I think my sound is working. Alan's is not. So we're going to just give him a little wave and let him know that he can begin. Good morning, Alan. Nice to see you. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Oh, no, his volume's not working. I can't hear you. Oh.
Actually, I can't really see the slide. Okay, but I understand it's in front of everybody. So that's good. Oh, here we go. Perfect. So this is second to last of the series. Let's go on an earthly journey in partnership with White Spotted Horse, who happened to be me, GNU Healing Lodge, and Grandmother Voices. And today came about because people are having difficulties right now, including myself last night for some reason. I lost a lot of energy. But anyway, some people are really going through loss or grieving or crisis. And I have mentioned in my other previous presentations that we are shifting. The earth is shifting, Mother Earth is shifting, and we're being brought along with her. So it's some are going to find it easy because they do meditation, they do ceremonies, they do yoga, they do breathing techniques and such. Or some are just going to lie down in their beds and let things happen. But what we're going to talk about is the true path of life, and I said that to my friend Jody that we're talking a few days back. I says, well, that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about what it is to be a human being. And I'll just switch the slide. So this is called the Red Road Journey. And the Red Road is the most common description of who we are as human beings as we walk on the road of life. But it has many names. The True Path of Life, the Red Road, Four Hills Teachings, Tobacco Road, and the Sweetgrass Road. And this, I'll speak about this pictograph that came from ancient scrolls that talks about life, what life is about. The teaching is from the Middeweeën, the Society of Medicine and Ethics, which dictates that each person has a path to follow, called the true path of life. An unpredictable trail of many digressions, dangers, and temptations, traveling over four hills from infancy to youth to adulthood and old age. This trail of life was originally depicted by the ancestors on ancient holy birch bark scrolls as a stylized path which shows 7 or 9 digressions or lines leading from life's main path trail. Kept safely within the caches of the midday spiritual practices, the teaching on the true path of life has been passed down for many centuries. So it might look a 2D picture, but when you view it from sideways from the time of birth, and you can see circles as you go through each hill, but you can't see the other hills as you go along. But you do see as a medicine wheel, and if you show all those squiggly lines of temptations, diversions, distractions, and you might even see the different colors of each of these hills. It does show a medicine wheel. Now the symbol of the four hills of the line drawing represents a life path, a sacred pictograph that begins with on the left with a spiral birth, and it flows through four hills or four stages, ending in a smaller spiral returning to the earth. Each hill signifies a stage of growth, learning, and spiritual development. It's the ups and downs on the path of that shows that life is not linear, but is filled with challenges, teachings, and renewal. As you go along each shift of your life, each event, something significant, it's like you're taking a moment, you're spiraling in one spot before you move forward. And you're doing so each time as you move forward. So it's not a straight line either. So sometimes you're on top of high hills. You can see faraway places, very clear. There'll be other times when you're in dark valleys where you don't even know what your next step is going to be. But you always move forward. So the four hills, each hill or peak corresponds to the four stages of life. The first hill is childhood. But before I talk about that circle is the womb of your mother, and you're in the middle. The line represents coming from above. Your spirit is coming into the body that was prepared for you in the womb of your mother. Now you take your first breath in life. So the spiral at the beginning represents a child's entrance to the world from a spiritual one. The teachings of this stage focus on innocence, curiosity, and learning through observation. The child walks the path of discovery, guided by family and community. The second hill represents youth or adolescence to early adulthood. This stage is about identity, it's about starting to make choices and relationships. The young person tests teachings, explores independence, and may struggle to find their place on the red road. This is the time of initiation, fasting, seeking, ceremonies. The third hill is adulthood. It's about responsibility and service. Here, the person carries responsibility for family, community, and nation. The focus is on living the teachings, walking the red road, and offering one's gift in service for others. The adult learns balance between the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual at this stage, with their full will, the will to make choices. Now, in the fourth hill is the elderhood. It represents wisdom and getting ready to return to spirit. Now, there's that line doesn't truly connect to that circle on the end, because that's where fear is. That's the unknown. That's not knowing what's going to happen next. So it doesn't quite touch. Even as I heard it, the spirit will leave the body before death, even days before death, especially if the body is suffering. It's returning home. Now, the final hill represents elderhood, where one lives in wisdom, humility, and gratitude. The small spiral at the end shows the return to the spirit world. The sacred circle is completed. Elders pass through this portal, this doorway, ensuring that the circle life continues on. it's now their time to go back home. Okay. And then the path of balance. The red road is often described as the middle path, walking between two extremes. One side is temptations, ego, anger, chaos. The other side is love, forgiveness, humility, and understanding. Those who walk the red road choose the latter to act with kindness, truth, with compassion, respect, when life brings hardship. So that's what we would call living a good life. Menobizian is to stay in a balanced walk throughout life. Meaning of the red road. The red road is a spiritual journey. We are here because of Mother Earth. She's a unique place to be with. IZHAADAA Aki, IZHAAADAA Aki. She is why we're here. To journey along with her. So that this is not only a place of paradise and its beauty, but it's also very challenging. This is where true growth can really happen. So it's a commitment to walk in a good way, guided by traditional teachings, ceremonies, and the 7 sacred teachings of love, respect, courage, honesty, wisdom, humility, and truth. It is called the red because the red is the color of life and blood. The sacred life force that flows through all living beings connected us to the earth, Aki. Walking this road means living with intention, prayer, and integrity, striving to honor the Creator's law and its natural order. Now, life events. A single moment in one's life can create major changes in how a person lives. Some of these events are extreme, and some of them are much more subtle. On average, a person has 5 to 8 major life events that shape how they perceive and process their reality. The most common emotions that arise from these major life events is sadness, anger, fear, and guilt. Now there's a large spectrum of emotions in this life. But if you were to look at each one of these 4, they're like branches of a tree. And on each branch are many leaves that stems out of it. So they're all different from each other in terms of their vibration, their tone, because anger is going to be different from sadness, and guilt is going to be different from fear. There are some elements that bleeds into each other. Now, as a hypnotherapist, as a healer, I'm always trying to find the key emotion that one is experiencing, to go and find the source of it. And if they said I'm lonely, I feel lonely, well, that's a leaf that is tied into sadness. Now, if somebody says I have shame, well, that's a leaf that's tied to guilt, the branch of guilt. Always worrying, anxiety, then it's a leaf that's tied to the fear. Now, anger is not being safe. You're not feeling safe. So anger is the one that explodes, that gets in the way because you're not feeling safe. These are very normal half emotions to feel, by the way. Believe it or not, it's very interesting and important to learn the positive aspects of these emotions. They were there to protect you. They were there to help you assess what's going on around you. So anger has its place in terms of protecting you. You know, you got to do something. And sadness is also have its place, because you need to feel, get into that emotion. In fact, I broke it down for you. Sadness is very useful because it can create a healthy cleansing throughout your entire body. It helps to release your inner pain that needs to be expressed, helps to bring balance back inside of your body. It can lead to compassion for others. Anger. The purpose of anger is to outwardly express yourself when something is no longer acceptable. This can assist in creating healthy boundaries. Fear. There's real primitive fear and imagined fear. Fear exists on all many levels that can help you take action to find safety. Now, guilt allows you to take accountability for your behavior. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, this leads to personal growth. What happens inside some of life's events can overwhelm a person. And when this happens, people tend to mentally shut down for self-preservation, which is the fastest way out of an event. However, several problems can occur here. The mind may start to create some safety programming which is not in the best interest of their life. Lots of distorting, generalizing, deleting of events can develop. This is where the person has lost rapport with themselves, and work needs to be done to find their way. A little note for my personal, as an Anishinaabe healer and hypnotherapist and many other healing modalities, bundles that I have, I'm always trying to help a person discovering the root cause of why they come and see me. I always said that 90% of our illness, our disease, originated from our minds. And if we were to go and heal that first, then the rest should become more easier to take on. So when we get to the root of the problem, we can release the core programming that is blocking them, replace it with new ones, shifting towards personal empowerment and freedom, taking responsibility for your life. You're responsible. So that's what it comes right down to you is, are you willing to address it? Are you willing to look at it? Are you willing to heal from it? Are you willing to go there? And the question is, are you empowerment or victimhood in your life story? I had this teaching for, I don't know how long, 18 years, I guess. It's called the personal empowerment hoop. So when an event takes place, a situation takes place, even as of yesterday, last week, last month, last year, or when you're 4 years old, what you're going to go through is this process. A situation took place. What's your intentions? Now, it depends on how resilient you are or how capable you are on dealing any situation, but sometimes something will be a little overwhelming. And if that happens, it has an impact on your spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental self. Now, you can fall easily on the lower end of that hoop by just say something happened last week that impacted you emotionally. And instead of dealing with it, maybe ignored it. You just let it go. This is life. Life is hard. My life is hard. And you start ignoring it. And if somebody brought it up, or even you not looking at it, you're denying, being in denial. And what we tend to do at times is that we'll blame. There's always somebody else to blame. And I have learned this when we developed IZHAAADAA Aki Healing Lodge. It was a a federal place on one of our communities that took 2 years plus sentencing to prison, instead of like going and being indoctrinated into gang life in Stony Mountain. They can come to our lodge where they can start working on a healing plan. Now, I met a lot of young men at the time, and to hear their stories. And I found there was always somebody else to blame for their situation. Why they are in prison? Why are they incarcerated? And it's a lot of stories. Like here's one where this young man knew his neighbor has his truck and is on his property, and he never takes the key out. He's always in an ignition, and he knew that. But one day he decided, I'm going to go for a joyride. I'm just going to take his truck. So he started walking on the property, and then I started asking in his story, can I ask you, when did you knew that this is not going to be right? And he says, well, they don't actually come out and say it. They just say, I don't know. Okay, then go on with your story. And then they said, well, I opened the vehicle. I opened the door. And I says, oh, can I ask you here, did you knew it was right or wrong? You know, that you're opening that door. It wasn't your truck. Again, there was this denial or just want to address it. Okay. Then they went on to the next part. Next part was, you found a key in the ignition and you're going to start it up. And I says, once again, what's the question? You knew it wasn't right or wrong. So they're starting to get the idea, like, I guess I shouldn't have done that. But they went on. He says, what's next is I put it in gear, I backed up, and I drove off the property. And later on, I ditched the vehicle. But I got caught because everybody seen me driving that vehicle. What was the point of this was to say, well, who's really to blame here? Because he was blaming the owner for keeping the keys in the ignition. He was blaming whoever he can blame, saying it's not my fault. So that blame is very powerful. It's always somebody else's fault. And that's key when you look at this diagram. Because if you're able to address and break it down that maybe you're to blame, maybe it's your responsibility, you got caught. Then we can go on to the next, we can start going on to the other ones. So it's now becoming blaming. It becomes more physical. It's part of how you're feeling, what's going on in your body, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And then if you're still in a victim hoop, you're rationalizing it. You know, it was society. You know, it was my lack of parents. You know, I wasn't raised a good way. And there's always a rational story behind it. But there's resistance because it gets to a point where it's too much. I can't look at this. I can't deal with this. So they get an outburst. They want to run away. They resist. They go and hide. And you know what's meant? It's being stubborn. It's going inside, hiding in their own subconscious cave and not, ignoring everything. But hiding is basically, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to deal with it. Now, at any time in this hoop, called the victim hoop, at any time you feel you want change, there's got to be something I want differently. That's always the first step. I don't know, maybe you feel guilty about it. Maybe you should, I want to do better. I know it's not right, but that's always one step, a small step, but a big step. Because you start looking at the story where things went wrong, I made a wrong decision, and you start owning some of that decision making. So you own it. You own what part you took. Now the next one is hard, is to forgive. You have to, something. It's very hard to forgive others. It's always somebody else that did things to you, or you don't forgive yourself. That's a big one. You don't forgive yourself. Now, forgiving is a very important passage, because if you can forgive somebody, you really are on a path of healing, on a healing journey. If you can forgive yourself, you're truly on a path of healing. So that's a big one, but it gives you freedom. So when you go around the loop, oh, that's the arrows is going backwards on that one. I use a chat AI or something they call that, and it just gave me the wrong arrows, but that's fine. But this is the empowerment hoop, because the next thing you're knowing is that you're self-examining yourself. You're looking completely at your whole self, your spiritual, emotional, physical, mental self, every aspect of yourself. You're now self-examining. But everything in life is learning. So you're learning about yourself. You're learning about your decisions. You're learning about your choices. You're learning about what could you have done differently. And the thing is, you want change. You want to improve. You want to grow. So next time situations like that happen, what is your new intention? What's your intention? Well, it leads into action, because if you don't make your choices, your positive choices, your new choices, you may easily fall back into the victim hoop. And then you got to go over that again to empowerment hoop. But the key thing is always move forward. Always, it's always your choice. Your choice to every situation that comes up. What's your intention? What is your choice? You take action. Because in the end, when you release those emotional turmoils, that chaos inside, and you move into the empowerment, you are in recovery. You are experiencing now resiliency. It becomes your story. I heard all the stories, and they're terrible. A lot of them. When it comes to our people, the common denominator is trauma, and everybody has their trauma stories. I had a friend last week, and I took retraining on hypnotherapy to see how he's doing it, so I could teach it one day. And he's saying that most of his clients are professional people, like police officers, teachers, and so forth. People that have to deal with trauma in their work. And I just happened to lift up my hand. I says, "Well, that's not how I see it." I says, "I don't see occupation when it comes to my people. I see their trauma." That's the common thing about that, is that when I do hypnotherapy, did it happen in the womb of your mother? Did it happen when in that from the womb to 3 years old as a baby, or did it happen from 3 to 7? No, I don't say it in that way. I'm not leading on. It's just that I happen to know, on average, most of the time, I'm going from 3 years old to a 7-year-old child. I'm dealing with the inner child that got left behind. So I just wanted to finish this presentation off that we are spiritual beings from the spiritual world, having a human experience in a physical world. So we're practically living in two worlds. Oh, before I move on to teach that, I just put some notes this morning I wanted to add to my PowerPoint, but no time. This is, when I talk about a spiritual path, it's very difficult because we grew up with religion. We grew up with a dogma. It's societal script for us. It's a programming. And now we're starting to open our minds up to the possibility of, not from a religious core belief system, but a spiritual interconnection with each other. And then there's that third component, was enlightenment. where truth, or you just know what it's all about. So this is perhaps one of the most challenging aspects of a spiritual path. Ensnared in self-inflicted torment, yet resolutely refusing to acknowledge their own role in the creation of their own problems. Most people you will meet in life are not yet ready to be awakened to their spiritual self. And for they are not yet aware of all aspects of their body. They're more physical than spiritual. They are aware of emotions, but they're not aware of all aspects of themselves as a human being, and especially adopting a programming called the ego that was part of the body, and that's the one that we deal with all the time until your spiritual connection is dominant but works with the ego. So they are temporarily caught in a mental web of their own thoughts and perceptions. True inner freedom requires self-responsibility. Freedom demands that we take responsibility for our thoughts, feelings, and actions. I had this thought here about I'm getting better going to Winnipeg and all that traffic, and I can feel the energy, negative energy. Everybody's trying to race home or race to work and all that. And there's a lot of anger, and people have their horns. But I can tell that if I happen to not signal fast enough, or I took their lane, I can tell that they're either swearing at me, but their thoughts are penetrating, and thoughts are powerful. So if they're sending me hate, like I'm a light worker, so I protect myself, but you cannot help but to feel that. So that's why going home is important to smudge, or go to work, smudge, to cleanse our aura, our protection field. But thoughts are very powerful. And when I work with people, it says I'm being hit, people are after me, they're trying to hurt me. Basically, I'm cleansing their aura, but letting them know that you're a powerful light, and you just need to know that you're not a victim because of somebody else. It's just that they get you at a moment of weakness. You're not as strong, you're not paying attention, and then you feel you got hit. Anyway, I just want to let you know that thoughts are very powerful, and that if we send out loving thoughts instead, we can counteract those thoughts quite easily. It's also feelings. If somebody triggers you, there you go. You just got to look at the feelings. Why am I triggered? Here's an opportunity to grow. Learn the lesson, release the energy. Now it's part of your story, but you don't have the energy anymore. And it's always about taking actions. It's not about thinking about things. I should do this, I should that. No, always take actions. Always be on the move. And I have to tell you, my friends, yesterday I was very tired. After 2.5 months, I think I was getting very tired of always on the go, always doing action. And that solar flares and northern lights, it could be doing it too. I don't know. And also, I'm fasting, but I broke the fast last night and I feel better. So could be all these things. But anyway, I just want to let you know that you always have to be responsible for everything about you. And so normally there are two versions of reality. Human beings tend to live with one or two main perceptions of reality. One is a physical world, and the other is circular or spiritual. These worldviews shape how we experience life, the Creator and one another, with each other. Now, the circular reality is living in separation from God. So we cannot help but to feel separated from God, because God says, hey, look, I'm giving you a clean slate. I'm going to put a veil over you. You can't take all that knowledge that you had, all those lives that you had. No, you're going to start from scratch. And you choose your family, you choose your community, you choose your way of life. It's all planned out for you, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the blessings. But it'll take you a while to remember who you truly are. So in the meantime, the first 27 years, enjoy yourself. By the time you get in your 30s and 40s, there's going to be some indicators, some signals, some signs that says, oh, I'm supposed to be on a spiritual journey, not so much physical. So see life as purely material, bound by physical laws. The circular reality rejects anything that cannot be seen, measured, or proven, and it excludes the possibility of miracles or divine intervention. It follows the principle, I have to see it to believe it. While a spiritual reality is living in oneness with God, unity, spiritual unity. Understand that creation begins in the mind and spirit before it ever manifests in a physical form. Believes that thought, intention, vibration, shape, and experience. Trust in unseen forces, divine guidance. Our inherent beliefs and conditioning from birth, we are influenced by the environment that we grow in, societal programs, community programs, family programs. Now, parents, culture, religions, and education, traditions, and social expectations are all programming. Whose program is it? Over time, these experiences shape our view on what is true. Many areas, customs, and superstitions are passed down from generation to generation, often without question. They can be both nurture or limit our personal spiritual growth. Examples, and there are many, such as you go to hell if you do not follow a certain religion or ascended master. Money is the root of all evil. Spiritual service should always be free, and it goes on and on and on and on. The deeper truth is, in reality, none of us truly knows the truth, the full truth. That is part of the life sacred journey. There is no right or wrong religion or belief systems. For whatever resonates within your heart is right for you that at that time in your evolution and your walk in life. If all people could learn to love and accept one another as being of expressions of the same source, imagine the peace that would follow. The greatest illusion humanity faces is this ego belief in separation, that we are divided from God, creation, and each other, that our way is right and while others are wrong. Most people often are killed in the name of God than any natural disaster or disease. But when we come to see the similarities, the light in each and every one of us, oops, I just wanted to back up a little bit with these parting words. We are united in spirit with the source of everything. And we have to strive to remember that. Those that are really involved in their spiritual journey will come to realize that everything around us is an illusion. Everything is projection of 8 billion people on this planet with free will. But our projection on how we want the world is powerful. Our thoughts need to be powerful. Our intentions need to be powerful. We project the life that we want. But if things are chaotic inside of your world, then you're going to have to do some healing. You're going to have to release. but you keep the story, but not the energy of it. This is your story. This is your journey. Instead of saying we're a victim of our circumstances, we can say that we're empowered because of it. And it's resiliency. It's our resiliency story. So anyway, that's my presentation. Can we talk, Jody? Do you call me?
Yes, Alan, I'm going to call you right now.
I can't. You're going to give me a call?
Hello, everyone. Amazing presentation by Alan. I'm going to give him a call right now.
And if
So
there's
if you don't
anybody
mind-
on chat, private chat, you can.
I just put.
Hello.
Oh, there. He's talking through his phone.
There I am.
Hi. I love you, Alan.
Oh,
Every once
good.
in a while, this happens, and we haven't really quite figured out on your end. But I do believe that that people can hear me. I checked on my Facebook. We've been doing this series. This is I believe the 6th one. We have one more in December. Today really resonated, and you and I spoke through the week about these challenges and that are surrounding many people. I mean, the phone calls that we're getting at Grandmother's Voice and just in our community is everything that you spoke about, is that understanding of self and the cycles and the truths of why we're here. And I truly appreciate those messages that you shared today. And we're getting some messages on underneath the chat. So truly appreciate that. I don't know if you wanted to share something. If you do, before we go, I'll mute myself and then you can come back on the screen. I'll unmute you here.
Some parting words. Okay, do you need to get off? All right.
Just mute your.
So my parting words is this to the dedicated audience and new observers. Don't despair. It's just transitional. As I said in my other presentations, we are no longer the caterpillars that are trying to struggle on the ground. Most are not in the cocoon state anymore, but there still are. A lot are newly flying in the 5th dimension. They're butterflies, but they have to adjust. And the best way to adjust is to clean yourself up. Get rid of these old emotionals and these old programs, these things that no longer serve you. Your past doesn't serve you. It's your story, yes, but don't get stuck. Don't get blocked. Just release it. And don't worry about the future because the future has not been made. You are the creator of the future. So if you're fearful of your world, what's going on in the world, don't project that you're participating in fear that others have. You have to be reminded that you're going to create a better place for the children's children and children to come. And the best way to do that is for our own healing. We heal our ancestors, we heal what they went through because that's our connection. But we heal ourselves so that the future generations don't have to inherit that pain. But they are hope. We got to give them every opportunity to hope for a better future so they don't get caught up in what's going on around us today. So let's all get together, united on a beautiful, brighter future. We'll adopt as we go along. We'll adjust as we go along. But don't get swallowed up in your own fear, your own anxiety. And if you are, you got to explore that. You got to deal with it. You got to heal. You got to find courage. So I just wanted to remind you that the Anishinaabe is known as a kind heart. And you got to have compassion and kindness in order to create a beautiful world. You got to have good intentions to interact with each other. And above all, we got to learn how to be selflessness. I think that's the word. Not selfish, but selflessness. We we were that way as our ancestors did. To survive, we needed each other, but we were also very giving to each other. We just need to find ourselves again. So those are my parting words for today. The sun is coming out. It's going to be a very good day. Miigwech.
I'm just calling Alan again so he can hear my parting words. Alan, can you hear me? You can nod. Yeah, okay, super. Thank you. Wow. Today was a really powerful conversation and messaging that you shared with us. And I'm really grateful. So much to reflect on, so much to remember about ourselves and self-caring and like for ourselves and protecting ourselves and being aware of ourselves. And so just always grateful for this time that we get to spend together. This is a true gift. To our relationship is a true gift. And I want to thank you for, again, always answering my call and the call for the people to be connected to you. Nyawa, we love you. Chimagwich.
Okay.